Mm.
Hello, and welcome to the Dairy Hollow Chinwag, brought to you by the Writers Colony at Dairy Hollow. We're a nonprofit residency program for writers, and we're located in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. The colony offers 8 private writing suites in 2 side-by-side buildings, and the residencies last as long as 3 months or as short as a week. So the mission of the Writers Colony at Dairy Hollow is to provide uninterrupted residency time for writers of all genres and backgrounds, including culinary writers, composers, and artists. You can learn more at writerscolony.org. So today, our chinwag is with the wonderful Rafeeat Aliyu, a writer, editor, and documentary filmmaker. She was born and raised in Nigeria and is currently studying for her MFA in creative writing at North Carolina State University. She is the graduate of Clarion West Workshop for Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers. Her short stories have appeared in Nightmare, Strange Horizons, Faya, and others. Her short story, 58 Rules to Ensure Your Husband Loves You Forever, was longlisted for the 2018 Writivism Short Story Prize and has been translated to Spanish and Japanese. Welcome so much, Rafeeat. How are you today?
Thank you. I am good. How are you?
I am doing well and looking forward to our conversation.
I am too.
So, to get started, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Oh, well, I think that's encapsulated in my bio. So I'm Rafeeat Aliyu. I write. I have edited a collection of true stories from lesbians, bisexual, and trans women in Nigeria. And I also make documentaries on the side. I am currently in my second year. I'm studying creative writing at North Carolina State University.
Thank you. And can you tell us a little bit more about what you write and, excuse me, what inspires you?
Okay, I write speculative fiction. For me, that is fantasy, science fiction, and horror. I write mostly about women, magic, myth, and folklore. My work often draws inspiration from my heritage. I am Yoruba, and I'm particularly interested in Yoruba spirituality, philosophy, and thought. But I'm also interested in like wider West African history because it contains so much richness and complexity, and it's a constant source of inspiration for me. I'm someone who enjoys doing research, so research is an integral part of my writing process. Across my stories, I explore the desire to escape from society's norms. I'm really fascinated by, the human condition, by emotions such as love, desire, fear, hate, that internal question, why are we here? Why did this happen? Or why did this happen to me or to others? I focus on themes such as sexuality and change versus tradition. But also for me, many times, I just want to write a story, just to write a story. I want to share a world I've imagined with my readers. So maybe not just to push a theme out there, but just to share what's going on in my mind with other people. I'm fascinated by the space Black women occupy in the world and in the rich stories of radical women that shake up society, families, even themselves. I enjoy imagining women that look like me in fantastical worlds, overcoming challenges with triumph. My characters are always trying to break free, to define themselves according to like their own terms, and also to leave their mark on the world around them. So that's me and what I write.
Oh, thank you so much. I mean, hearing all of that makes me really excited to hear your reading in a bit. Um, so before we get to that, I do have one question for you about your residency at the Writers Colony at Dairy Hollow. So how did being at Dairy Hollow affect your writing, and what did you bring away from your residency?
Okay. I really loved my 2 week stay at Dairy Hollow. I'm trying to figure out where to start, like how much I loved and what I took away, because those are two very important questions. I'm someone who struggles with writing daily. And while at Eureka Springs, I found out I could it was easy for me to sit down and write. And I had like a schedule where I would write I would edit in the mornings, and then in the nights I would write, because typically I write at night. Um, so I wrote 2 short stories like totally from scratch while I was there. But on the other hand, I also reworked a novel and I edited stories that my friend had sent me. And that is just so much productivity for only 2 weeks, right? It was literally all in 2 weeks. And I think I was able to achieve this primarily because of the space and the environment that the residency provides. There's just something about being at Dairy Hollow that put my mind at ease and just set my creative juices flowing. In the months since then, I've struggled to sort of like write, but I mean, it happens, but it just was not as easy as how it was when I was there. And I think this might be like due to the fact that Dairy Hollow provides such a very like comfortable environment, and I could focus on like what matters regarding my creativity. So one major thing I took away from Dairy Hollow, or aside from trying to write daily, which I'm still working on, was having time with nature. So the houses they're just located in very beautiful surroundings. And you know what, if you keep walking either to downtown Eureka Springs or like to the park or like up, there are just so many like places to explore. So I went on daily walks while I was at Dairy Hollow. A few years back, I discovered that like walking and being in nature, like what's part of my creative process. If I'm struggling to like write something, all I need to do is go on a walk. And sometimes I'm walking and I'm talking to myself in public. It's just because I'm trying to figure out what to write. So that's something I've tried to take away. Walking around my apartment complex is not as scenic as being at Dairy Hollow, but it does help. And another aspect of the Dairy Hollow residency that I really enjoyed was, the communal dinners by 6 p.m. It was just a lovely chance to get to connect to other writers. But then also I felt like, the nutritious meals that were being provided helped me with the writing process. So that's something that I've tried to take away. Like since then, I've always trying to make sure like I eat at 6 p.m. and I'm trying to pay more attention to my diet. And I also got some recipes from Yana, so I've been trying.
Oh, oh, you're lucky getting Yana's recipes. That's
She was
amazing.
quite generous with them.
Well, that's good to hear. And I loved your description of how all the different components that make Dairy Hollow so special and unique really fed into having an abundant writing time for you. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you for having me. I'm just looking forward to going back
Oh,
and
yes.
maybe stay longer and see what I can achieve if I
Oh, I
stay.
know. I mean, if you can do that much in 2 weeks, think of what a month could do.
I know.
Well, so last and certainly not least, I am excited to ask you what you will be reading for us today.
Okay, I am excited to be reading from a short story called Land of Prophetic Women. It's a story I first wrote during the Clarion West Writers Workshop in 2018. I think I wrote it on my second week there. So the story has since gone through several edits. I worked on it with Vimbai Shire, who is an editor that I worked with. I was selected to be part of an online mentorship program that was organized by the Ako Kane Prize for African Writing. So this is a story that I've worked on over and over. I always say, like, with my experience with Vimbai and in that project, that I've never worked on a story as much as I've worked on this. It will be coming out in the 2022 Ako Kane Prize anthology. So I'll be reading just the very first part of this short story.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, can I start?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. The smell of raw meat assaults my nostrils. I hold my breath, suppress the grimace, and resist the urge to pull away. Over Celestina Godlove's shoulder, my vision blurs. I count backwards in my head. 10, 9, 8. And try to focus on a framed picture on the back wall. Brown polished wood wraps around 3 children, all shiny foreheads, bright eyes, and wide, toothless grins. 7, 6, 5. My head is beginning to swim as Celestina breaks the hug and steps away. She smiles. Beady eyes gleam behind thick-rimmed glasses. How I've longed to meet you, she says, holding my hand as though we are old friends. I am itching to pull my hand free. but I offer an awkward smile in return. 4, 3, 2, 1. That stench, the one that brought to mind the abattoir near my childhood home. I can't smell it anymore. See how shy you are, Celestina trills. Round shoulders, exposed in the boo-boo she's wearing, shake as she laughs. The gold embroidery of the gown sits at the curve of her shoulders. The rest is a sea of blue. I don't laugh and can't meet her eyes. Instead, I crane my neck for Olivia. She's the reason I'm here. Celestina closes the front door and leads me into the sitting room. I hear the hum of a sewing machine, though I can't see it. It must be coming from one of the rooms in the back. Olivia sits on a gray sofa on the right-hand side of a room cluttered with ramshackle furniture, placed haphazardly. She's staring down at her palms folded demurely on her lap. A lump rises in my throat. It's been a week since Olivia told Abba and me that she was moving out. We'd offered her shelter from Thomas, but she says she found a proper one here, at the land of prophetic women. Come, sit down. Celestina releases my hand, places her palm on the small of my back, and stares me towards the sofa. She pushes me down next to Olivia. I am relieved to see my friend and glad to be free of Celestina's touch. Olivia, won't you greet your friend? Olivia glances at me sideways, tilting her body in my direction. Hey, Hamida, thanks for coming to see me. I frown at this robotic greeting, so unlike the friend I know. Olivia, I whisper, but Celestina cuts me off with a snap of her fingers. She looms over us like a lighthouse does the sea. Tell me, my dear, what will you eat? Nothing, Ma. I add the Ma as an afterthought. While Celestina does not appear old enough to be my mom, she merits being called auntie out of respect. Nonsense, Celestina says. You must eat something. Prudence! A petite young woman appears at the doorway, her chemically straightened hair pulled back in a thin ponytail. Having sent Prudence to the kitchen to prepare the pounded yam that I won't be eating for sure, Celestina sinks into one of the armchairs opposite us, her form overflowing its bounds, blue dress hanging over its sides. I gave her another small smile and watch Olivia. She doesn't move. What is wrong with her? Now she's staring at the TV mounted on the south wall, where an Indian serial is showing. A bride sits surrounded by women who take turns applying a yellow paste to exposed skin. Upstairs, a man is arguing with a woman, and she pushes him down a long, curved stairwell. A slow montage of shots ensues. Wide-eyed faces, mouths agape, hands raised in horror. I don't understand the point of these shows, Olivia had said when I made her watch SeaWorld when she was at mine. Yet here she is, eyes glued to the screen, inconscient. It's so kind of you to come and visit. Celestina's grating voice pulls me away from my thoughts. Yes, ma, I reply. You're not the one I came to see. I take in the room, frayed mismatched chairs, watermarked wooden center table, the plastic tablecloth atop the rickety dining table in the far corner. This isn't a shelter for women. It's a 2-bedroom flat nestled on the 3rd floor of a suite of apartments. Beads of sweat prickle my scalp. I blurt out, how long have you been here? It's been 3 years of God's grace, Celestina croos. I started this ministry to take care of vulnerable women and their children. So this is like a church? I reach up to pat my hair beneath my head wrap. In many ways, Celestina says, smile widening. I wonder if her cheeks hurt. Women and children are beloved by God. We also have a school, God Love Academy for Blessed Children. I turned away from Celestina's smugness to face Olivia again. placing my palm on her thigh. Livio, now you I come greet so. Within the shell now, talk to me. Pigeon sputters from my mouth like water from a broken faucet. Olivia always laughs when I try to speak pidgin. After calling me Ajabo, she would say, Mida, be posh and proud. Never attempt speaking pidgin again. She's quiet now. She's fine, Celestina answers. Thomas somehow found out she was here and caused a disturbance just this morning. Nothing I couldn't handle, of course. Thomas, Olivia's ex-husband, the reason she's moving house. I can't recall a time he triggered this kind of reaction in Olivia. Then again, things can break you. What was that proverb about water wearing down rocks? And she hasn't said anything since? She just greeted you, my dear, Celestina points out. I wish I could speak to my friend alone. My eyes are once more drawn to that picture on the wall. I see now that there are more photographs surrounding it. 3 children, different to the last, this time standing in front of a brick building with rose bushes rambling along its sides. A dozen or so women in what looked like a classroom, smiling up at the camera over sewing machines in front of them. There is a solitary child, her curly hair styled in pigtails, holding a flower. She's wearing blue overalls. Where is Regina? I burst out, turning from Olivia, still entranced by the TV, to Celestina. I expected to see Olivia's daughter, to have her run to me, begging me to carry her in my arms as always. Ah, here comes the food. Celestina's eyes are on Prudence as she shuffles towards us, carrying a round metal tray laden with 2 plates. From afar, I can make out fried rice on one, and on the other, what seems to be asun. Prudence drags the center table towards me with one foot. I wince as it scrapes against the polished floor and places the tray before me. I was right. The fried rice is mixed with vegetables and liver. The goat's meat on the other plate is cut into bite-sized pieces and liberally stained red with pepper. As Prudence straightens up, her belly presses tightly against the tank top she's wearing. I suck in my breath, at once masking it with a cough, as if to clear my throat. Prudence is pregnant. When the aroma of the food wafts up, I don't smell fried rice. I am back beside the abattoir. Raw meat, the metallic stench of spilled blood. My stomach lurches as I leap to my feet. What's the matter? It's Celestina. I've been sick, I say, suddenly desperate to leave this place. If Olivia won't talk to me, what's the point in staying anyway? What about the food? Celestina says. There is disapproval in her eyes as they study me. I can't eat it, I say, not right now. Prudence, go and bring a plastic container. Don't worry about that, Ma. I bend my knees in a curtsy. I'll come again when Olivia is better. With that, I stumble to the door. Why is Celestina going on about food when Olivia won't say a word? Olivia hasn't so much as glanced at me since I arrived. And where is Regina? It was nice meeting you, I call out as my hand touches the greasy doorknob. I hurtle down the darkened stairway, my stomach quivering. Women mill about the space outside the apartment, sitting with their backs against the wall. They are knitting, stringing beads together, carefully clipping at paper with scissors. They don't acknowledge me as I rush by. They work mechanically, their eyes fixed on their tasks. No sound of singing or idle gossip in their mouths. No laughter in the air. I have already made it downstairs to the courtyard when I hear Celestina calling my name. Hamida, she shouts, you forgot the food. I look up to see her leaning against the rusted railing, all the way from the 3rd floor. Her blue gown billows around her, glasses perched on her nose. I spin around to see Prudence lumbering towards me, seemingly without any concern for the extra weight she is carrying. Instinctively, I step back, but her approach is determined. Prudence pushes the plastic bag, rumpled with use and reuse, into my hand. I glance up again, and Celestina is still watching. In the back of the cab heading home, my stomach growls. It's 40 minutes till home, and the bag is at my feet. I reach for it and pry open the top of the container. Prudence threw the food in there in a hurry. The meat is underneath the rice. The sauce is peppered throughout the food. Slowly, I bring the bag close to my nose and sniff. Instantly, I draw back, repulsed. The car is still spinning as I toss the bag and its contents out the window. That's it.
Thank you so much. I
You.
I have no words.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, thank you so much, and I
You.
hope that you have a wonderful rest of your week.
I hope so too for you.